99.3 Nigeria Info. You have Sandra Ezekwesili and Agogo Obo still here.
Right, so it's Countdown 2019, and we have a big discussion on the Ideas segment. So you're welcome to the show where we discuss all the big and significant issues on the road to the 2019 elections. You can follow the program on Twitter at Countdown 2019NG and at Rotimi Sankore at Ideas NG also too. Today on Ideas segment with IOB, we will be looking at ethics, integrity, and accountability. Let me just read a profile briefly of today's guest. Banky W.
Yes, sir.
Born Oluwabankole Wellington.
Yes, sir.
It's created and famous Banky Wellington. Nigerian singer, rapper, and actor, now politician also too.
Apparently so.
He was born on 27th of March 1981 in the United States, but then moved back to Nigeria when he was 5 years old. Singing career started way back at the age of 8 at church choir. He's got the intention to run for a seat in Nigeria's House of Representatives, representing Lagos Etiosa federal constituency. He announced that he would run with the Modern Democratic Party, which was formed last year.
Yes.
All right, IOV.
Oh, well, welcome to the Ideas segment of the show. Could I call you Mr. Wellington or Banky or
whatever
candidate?
Makes you comfortable.
I think
fine.
I have to call you Banky because otherwise the
that's all the people know.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, you know, I do need them to know that my name is Olubankole Wellington
So
for
that
purposes of elections.
Well,
so,
for the purposes of the election, on the ballot paper, that will be the Modern Democratic Party.
But we also heard from INEC that this year they'll also have the candidates' names.
Okay.
That's not been completely confirmed, but at least that's encouraging.
Well, on the ideas section of the program, what we try to do is that we try to look at issues of integrity, democracy, ethics, and accountability. And as you know, the way that the National Assembly is perceived in the eyes of the public, particularly having regards to the ongoing investigations by groups like Tracker NG, about the use of constituency funds. It has shown that the virtue of integrity or accountability for those kinds of funds is a little bit lacking in our current National Assembly. And I wonder, if you were to be elected to the National Assembly, how do you intend to how do you intend to reflect those virtues, if you think that they're important at all?
Absolutely. So I think that the issue of transparency, accountability, and things of that nature are problems with our government as a whole. I think that we have issues with this in Nigeria at every level of government official, at every level, federal, state, or local. Now, I'm of the opinion that, you know, when I started discussing that I wanted to run for office, a lot of people were like, no, it's dirty, it's dangerous, you know, but it's been that way for so long because the good people would never get involved. So nobody that has integrity or intellectual capacity or the right intentions that I know would ever touch politics with a 10-foot pole. But the problem with that is the punishment, like Plato said, the punishment for not being involved in politics is that you end up being ruled by your inferiors, or if I can paraphrase, you end up being ruled by people who don't deserve the offices that they're going for.
Or people who went into it because they perceived it as dirty and felt that
because they wanted to take advantage of that system.
But
now, okay, sorry, man. Go ahead.
No, you go ahead with it.
No, please. It's your show.
Well, I mean, the point is that may be the general perception, the general picture, but you are running for a particular seat in Lagos.
Yes.
And the issue is, how, as a single member of the National Assembly or the House of Representatives, are you going to spread the virtues of integrity or ethics?
For me, I would say absolutely. I think that part of the reason that we decided to do this almost essentially as an independent is so that we wouldn't answer to the same systems that have been in control for so long. So we don't want to have to answer to the godfathers of the political parties. We want to answer to the young people and to the people of Nigeria. And so if you read my legislative agenda, it talks about the issues that we want to focus on, but it also talks about being accountable to our constituents and being accountable to the country. So we talk about having a constituency office, we talk about having town halls, we talk about giving quarterly reports to our constituents and the country as a whole about the things that we're doing. And essentially the idea is to try and lead by example, to show what politics should look like in Nigeria, in the House and across all levels of government, to show that this thing can and should be done a different way, and we will start with ourselves.
And do you think that if you get there as one person,
Yes.
you would be able to make a difference?
So here's the thing. There's two things that I think are important. For me, one is breaking the glass ceiling that says these things are not possible. I think that our generation as a whole, young people need to believe and hope that these things are possible. Like, you don't have to answer to the same people. You don't have to do things the same way. The problem in Nigeria is that as a generation, we've been quiet and dormant for so long. And so some of us end up being taken advantage of by the system, and some of us just don't want to be involved. But the problem with that, like we said, is that nothing ever changes. And so first and foremost, we want to prove that it is possible. Secondly, we want to lead by example. Now, me going into the House of Reps, I had a certain segment of the population that was like, well, why are you starting a House of Reps? Your name is bigger than that. Like, you should have gone for something more. But I believe that Nigeria, if we're going to fix Nigeria, it starts in the level of the community. You fix a country like Nigeria by fixing one community at a time. And so we'll start in Etiosa, we'll start with this seat. And by virtue of the career that I've had, I believe that I'll be a rallying point, because I'm not on APC side, I'm not on PDP side, I'm on the side of Nigeria, I'm on the side of young people. And so when we get into the House, I'm friends with everybody and friends with nobody. And so I'm depending a little bit on
We've had
the
something
fact.
like that.
Oh no! Then I shouldn't have said that. I'm sorry. That rolled off my tongue wrongly.
Well, it probably rolled off. It always rolls off the tongue wrongly, because it means that I like people, but I'm not beholden to them. I think that's really
Which is what I'm trying to say, is that, when we get into the House, we're not loyal to one side or the other side. We're just loyal to the
But
issues that
are you
affect
not
our
running
people.
in sufficient enough numbers in the modern Democratic Party
Okay, so-
for you to make to gather a critical mass?
So here's the thing. As a party, we decided that we were only going to focus on 2 seats in the House in this election. So we're going for my seat in Etiosa and our party chairman's seat in Ondo State. And that was very intentional. Our original plan was to wait until 2023 and build capacity till then. But then we decided that, the generation needs an example. They need to see that this thing is possible. They need to believe in that. And just, honestly, as a party, our resources are very limited. So we don't have the ability to compete.
It's another issue, because, as I said, in this section of the program,
Yeah.
I mean, I'm sure that Rotimi will get onto the politics and the strategy
sure.
and so on. But in this section, we focus on integrity, ethics.
Mm-hmm.
And when you say that your resources are limited,
Mm-hmm.
is there an ethical way to campaign in the face of a situation where vote buying is becoming a little bit rampant, where you have the powers of incumbency? Some like to use a strong right arm, which is the code for political thuggery. How are you going to campaign with integrity in such an environment?
So you know what it is? I feel like the country is ready to do things differently. They just need to see that it is possible. So let me give you an example. We went out for our first door-to-door last weekend. We went to different areas of the Etiosa community, just engaging with people. In one of the places, one of the major political parties who has an opponent that I'm going up against had actually sent bags of rice and gari and things of that nature to the community the day before we got there. The community sent it back. So the people themselves are ready to do things differently. Like, yes, vote buying is a problem. Yes, thuggery is a problem. Yes, all of these things are happening. But I think that the community just needs to see a different option on the table. And that's what we're depending on. Honestly, listen, we're either going to get in doing it the right way, or we're not going to get in.
So you feel that kind of campaigning...
Okay, so
Well, we're back with Banky W, and of course Banky W's Twitter handle, at Banky W. I'm at Nijama, and at Rotimi has also joined us. But we were talking, as I said, we focus on integrity, the anti-corruption segment, if I may say, of this election campaign. And you mentioned the fact that your party has decided to concentrate on only 2 seats. And
I remember where we were. Do you want to pick up from there? Or do you want to go ahead?
Sure, go ahead.
So you were asking that how do we intend to compete essentially with this era of vote buying and things of that
Thuggery,
nature,
yes.
and thuggery and things of that nature. So, and what I was saying was that as MDP, we're only focused on 2 seats in the House because of our limited resources. So you said, with those limited resources, how do we intend to compete?
Yeah, and I'm asking whether the kind of campaign that you've been running, which is a door-to-door campaign, at which Nigerians are very polite people. They're rarely going to tell you to get lost to your face. They will even promise to vote for you. But how do you bridge the gap with that when they will say, what have you got for me? Our sort of your boys are here culture, and so on. How do you bridge that with and still conduct a campaign that speaks of integrity?
Right. So the first thing is, the largest voter constituency, if you will, in Nigeria are the people that don't show up. They're the people that are disenfranchised, the people that are frustrated, the people that don't believe the system works or will ever work. And so, for instance, in this House of Reps seat race in 2015, there were 250-something thousand people registered to vote in Etiosa. Do you know how many people voted for the House of Reps seat? 56,000 out of 250-something thousand. And the person that won with 30,000 or so votes. And so what that tells me is that there's so many more people who are eligible to vote, who do probably
it's an untapped reservoir.
It's an untapped reservoir of people who they're not loyal to any
what
party.
What is just called voter apathy.
Thank you, voter apathy. So the first thing
you
is,
call it apathy, but the fact is that people may be very energetic in that so-called apathy, in the sense that they're saying it's not that they are, I can't be bothered, it's that I have consciously decided not to engage. And I wonder whether you see, you have undoubted star power. Everybody knows you from, if they haven't seen you in films, they would have heard your music, they know your music, and so on. And if you were to get into the National Assembly, you'll be coming up against people who may not have the same resources, the same luxury of being able to say, I have something else to do if I'm not in power. Do you think that's going to impact the way that you behave if you get into office?
I think that I have a bit of an advantage, like you say, because of the career that I've had. And so I feel like I'm at the point where I know how much I'm sacrificing to do this. And I'm either going to do it the right way or I'm not going to do it at all. So it's either I get into it, running the campaign the right way, talking to the constituents the right way, performing in office the right way, or I'm not going to do it at all. And if I get in and I start, messing around or changing or adapting to the system, and this is what I told, my volunteers, because we're having this big volunteer drive and people are signing up in the thousands to help us out. But I told them, I said, you know what? If I get in and I don't do what I say that I will do and I change in my character or the things that I stand up for, then vote me out. We need to become a one-term government country until we get it right. And that is from the president all the way down. Now, in the last elections, we unseated an incumbent president because people felt like the administration wasn't working. So this time, if people feel like an administration is not working, vote them out. If we get in and you feel like we're not working, get us out of there. This is what Nigeria needs. We need to become a country that says you get one shot. You mess up, you're gone, and we try somebody else. That is how bad things have become, and that is what we need to be. The office that you hold is not your birthright. It doesn't belong to you. It doesn't belong to your family. It doesn't belong to your party. It belongs to the people. And if the people feel like you're not doing a good job, then kick them out and try somebody else. And that's what we're going to do.
Well, I think that the idea of people will say that Banky W and the modern Democratic Party are coming with a lot of idealism. But, well, Rotimi, I'm going to hand over to you because I don't necessarily think that we need to say that idealism is a wrong thing. It's actually the sad thing about our politics, perhaps, is that there's less of idealism in it and more of what's in it for me. So with that, I want to put an end to the ideas segment of the program. And thank you for showing us how a campaign can reflect these virtues that we are very concerned with in our segment.
Thank you.
Please remember to look at our website, which is www.ideasradio.ng. And of course, as I said, you can get me on Nijama, and see you next week.
And my
you.
website is makiwellington.com, in case you feel like checking out another site.
Well, we must have a campaign website.
Yes, that is it. makiwellington.com.
Okay.
Yeah, so please check it out.
So.
Okay, thank you so much.